Hello!
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 Mayhem, a TTRPG podcast with mostly accurate rules and inconsistent character voices. I'm Alex, your host and GM, and with me are Rowan, Purdy, and Joe, my wonderful players. How are the three of you doing today?
Hello!
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 I think my Discord's broken because I've not got the stream up to listen to the thing. I didn't even know we were ready.
Oh.
Hello!
Then yes.
Hello!
Your Discord
Hello!
is broken.
Yeah, probably.
And
Hello.
How
Hello.
are you doing?
Oh, he's here. Hello.
Hello!
Just stuck at hello.
Hello!
Everything's just stuck now. You were doing a
Okay.
SpongeBob
Hello.
thing. How are you doing?
Hello! Ah!
Man!
That was very
What is
good.
happening?
We should take a trip one time and as a group go and see the SpongeBob SquarePants musical.
Yes.
I agree. How is everybody doing today?
Oh, well, we just had a long talk that you can listen to on Patreon. Well, parts of it, probably. We're probably cutting a lot of that out.
Oh yeah, we'll cut out a lot of the stuff.
And if you want to know how I'm doing, then you do have to go to the Patreon, where we have the ability to say, where I might say it.
Yeah, if you leave a comment on the pre-ramble for this episode, saying that you want more content from us, we will all post status updates as if it's Facebook from 2008 on Patreon
God.
every day.
For a week.
Yeah.
We'll put a time
Mine
limit on
keep
it.
popping up. Mine keep popping up, and I am so cringed by them.
I swear I deleted Facebook. Oh,
What?
the cringe took her out. The cringe took her out.
She cringed too hard.
Oh dear. Unfortunately, we're not joined by my dearest of fathers. I have multiple, and there's only one person that's going to be able to tell us what's happened. And Rowan's got their hand up. So,
Hi.
would you like to tell us?
So, for the past 2 weeks, I have been in Monster Hunter a lot, and today I saw something really odd. I saw Mark in the game, but it's you know how they'll put like real people into games. It was like an FMV version of Mark. He was fighting like a really high rank monster, and he was struggling. And he said he'll be back as soon as he's done defeating this thing. He was getting rolled. I don't think he's coming back for a while.
It's like me fighting any boss in Dark Souls, which I don't try to improve myself. I just do it face first every time.
Yeah.
That's like how you play Marvel Rivals.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it might just be how I play games.
Your dad was using just a normal saxophone to try to beat this enemy. I tried to tell him that there's a hunting horn that's like made. It's like the same kind of idea, but it's made to actually kill the monster.
Don't worry, listeners. We have no idea what they're saying either.
I also understand the concept of a hunting horn, which apparently Alex doesn't.
I don't think so if you said hunting horn to me, I'd only think of the bugle that someone plays whilst they're doing fox hunting.
Yeah, that's it.
Is that what we're talking about? Okay.
Pretty
fine.
much, yeah.
No. Well,
there you
no,
go.
but so the reason I said he was using a normal saxophone is because they kind of look like just a giant fucking saxophone that you hit monsters over the head with.
Oh.
That was a really niche one, but this is like the 5th week marks away, so
we're
running out.
I like that you say you're running out on your first one.
Yeah.
And you volunteered.
I said we.
I volunteer as tribute. Recap?
Yeah.
Recap. Okay, so that goes there, and...
You summoned me.
Holy cheese, it worked! I don't believe it worked!
For what purpose do you call on me, mortal?
Oh, I'm sorry. I've never summoned a demon before.
Do not mock me, mortal.
Oh, no, I'm not mocking you. I'm just a little starstruck is all.
State the purpose of my summoning.
Oh, right, yeah, well, it's a little embarrassing, see? Well, there's this story I heard down the old demonic grapevine, if you know what I mean. It's about this crew of a ship travelling around, getting into trouble. Well, see, I heard the part of the story where they went into the Temple of Armashan, you know, travelling across the seas, following a map, getting into an island, yada yada. And I heard the bit where they started exploring, and the bit where they got into the armory, but it's kind of when I lost the connection, see? So, I was wondering, could you tell me what happened next?
You summoned me, the ruler of skulls, vanquisher of Dermik, leader of the ancient hordes of Gariktor, to tell you a story.
Yeah, that's right.
I need a better manager. Fine. They solved the armory puzzle. The answer was a quill. Then they fought off all of the statues in the room next door.
What? All of the statues? How do they come to life?
They lit the fire pit, and it activated the statues.
Oh, that sneaky Amershan. Tricks and traps all over him. Well, I hope they find the treasure at the end of all this, otherwise it won't be worth it, eh?
Am I released?
You what?
Have I fulfilled your bidding? Can I leave?
Oh, right, yeah, of course. You know, this has all been wonderful. You know, I was thinking that we should go Oh, well, there's no need to be rude about it.
Bambi? Was that Bambi? Or just another person that sounded like...
You know you never get explanations for any of these things.
I know. I really want to know. I really hope you have like a log of what each of them are, because I do want to go back and understand at some point.
Wouldn't that be nice? So, we start the session with all
I
of
was
you.
just about to do that.
With all of you in the entrance area once again, in the underground part of the Temple of Amershan. You, as it said, did that gigantic fight, which I was very impressed that you managed to take down 16 of these various... I always called them animatronics, which is definitely not the right word, but it's the one I'm going to go with.
Listen, we're 5 nights at Reddy's to get through this.
You went back through the corridor, which on the thing is labeled as 8, back through the corridor, the first corridor you went through, not the first room you went into, the first corridor you went through. And this time, as you went through it, there were stone faces all over the walls, which seemed to be watching you as you walked down. They all had symbols on their foreheads, and you discovered that some of those symbols matched the symbol that was on your map. I believe you tried pressing them. You discovered that when you pressed some of them, they'd light up. Or if you pressed any of them, they'd light up. But when you pressed the symbols that you had on your map, they'd light up. I believe you put in the same order that is on the map. The room flashed, I believe, 3 times. I know, 3 times.
In a colour order.
What?
It was in a colour order, no?
There was nothing to do with
hold
colour.
on.
Oh.
3 red flashes at the end of inputting that code. I wrote down that note.
Red, first, second, and third. That's colour order.
You flashed 3 times, and you went, yeah, I'm not going to deal with this, we need to go have a long rest, and then went to have a long rest. Now, you started the long rest as we ended the episode. You were doing some, you have not rolled yet for your watches. I know that Ozzy, you only need to do 6 hours for a long rest. The other 2 of you need to do 8 hours, 6 of which you need to be sleeping. And I also remember that you wanted to have your little toys, Pesto, keeping on watch. So, your toys have their own stats in their own right, don't they? Enough to roll.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Then could they please do a perception for this rest?
They can. They have a +3. So, is it just them each rest, or
Well, I had assumed that was the way it was set up.
well, they're doing it for every rest because they don't have to sleep.
Yeah, so they don't have to sleep, so that was what the implication I got. You're welcome to say it, to set this up differently. It's just you all need to be asleep for 6 hours.
Yeah. So I need to roll 9 rolls then.
Why 9 rolls?
Because there's 3 of them and they're awake for each rest, or is it just 1 roll for the whole rest?
When you say each rest, I don't know what you mean.
I mean...
So there's 3 of us resting. Rose saying, do they need to roll for each single one of us, like, being on watch? Or is it 1 roll for the whole night? Or for the whole rest, I mean.
I was thinking of it in, like, the normal way we do 2 hours.
Oh, in portions,
spans.
right.
Yeah.
If they're just doing it the whole time, then just 1 perception.
Yeah. Okay. Lem, Basil, Lem, basil, pine nut. So there is a 10 for lem, a 19 for basil,
10 for lem.
and 12 for pine nut.
Wonderful. Most of the night. Well, it's not even the night, I guess. You don't know what time it is, but most of the rest. You are not alerted to anything until very late into the rest, just before you would wake up. Lem alerts you to wake up. You spring awake, open your eyes, and discover that the danger is not so much a danger as Pumpkin has just decided to start chewing on Lem.
No!
I thought it was gonna be a pumpkin chewing on one
Not
of them.
aggressively. It's not damaging or anything. Just gumming. You're blah 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 blah.
I love that.
Other than that, nothing alerts you to awake.
Permission to smack. Permission to smack pumpkin. Granted.
No, permission denied. Pumpkin, get off Lem now.
Drops it.
There you go. No smacking needed. We're a no smacking zone.
Lem threat pumpkin with their wooden knife.
Pumpkin just licks Lem again. Just waddles away.
Yep.
Okay. So what would you like to do? I will recap the rooms as you go through them, but the rooms
Just
that
before
you
you do, we're marking on a long rest for everyone, yes?
That was a long rest, yes, indeed.
Good, because I'm back to long rest because I'm back on my thing. That could be absolutely information.
So D&D Beyond gives you a list of everything that you're recovering. I am recovering sort of 9 things because that one fight drained almost all of my resources.
Yeah. If there'd been 3 more of those things, I feel like you would have started struggling because you just got right to the limit of what you could do. Really,
I would have potentially had to have started doing some really cheesy stuff to survive that. Yeah,
it ain't easy being cheesy,
or just struggling more.
The room that you're in, you have 3 doors. Well, technically, obviously there is the door. The stairs behind you, but there are 3 doors that you can go through. The one to your north is room 6. That's the one that has that black pool of water in which you found a key, a plain bronze metal key. Room 7 below you is a room that has a hole in the center with various depictions on the walls of offerings being given and hands reaching out of the hole. And 8 is the corridor to the west of you, which is the corridor with the faces, which appeared only when you walked back through it. They were not there the first time.
I think we should go through the corridors that I've already been through.
Yes, I think that is where we planned on going last time. We can try telling an actual secret in 9.
I thought I told a secret.
You whispered it.
So 9 is the one that has tablets all around the outside and a riddle that you worked out. You have come to the conclusion that the answer to the riddle was a secret, but you attempted whispering a secret to it so that no one could hear, and nothing happened.
I suppose it couldn't hurt to try and map out everything that we know is a corridor, so we can try and get a sense of how big this place is.
We could also try doing the opposite of what 7 wants us to do. Since whenever I did what they wanted to in 6 and 11, bad things happen. Maybe if we do the opposite of what the walls want us to do, good things will happen.
What if nothing happens, though?
I consider that good at this point.
We should also consider, there might not be, a point to a lot of these things.
Yeah.
Because it didn't seem like there was a point to the, armor room. Although we didn't go back and check that, door.
Well, we got a key from that room. Oh, the statue room.
Yeah, statue room. There was a door on the left that we haven't checked, but other than that, we haven't, got anything from it.
We considered that there's no point to any of this.
At the very least, the point of this is adventure, right?
I thought the point of it was for treasure.
Yeah, we're assuming there's probably treasure. But, worst case scenario, and there's no treasure, then at least it's a fun time with my friends, right?
Well, the most important thing is that we rescue the captain.
I'm pretty sure the captain's back on the ship.
We should probably go there, then.
Honestly, I have no idea what happened to the captain.
I think it's safe to assume that he's probably being held captive here. The captive captain.
What gives you that impression?
Oh, because it happened as soon as we got here?
Yeah, but things kind of just happened to him at random times anyway.
Yeah.
I thought it was at the same time.
Well, is it? Or is it,
Yeah, it's like the
roughly
same time every night.
To be fair, you wouldn't technically know unless he's told you, which he may have done, but every morning he wakes up as a different shape.
I've got used to just Cap being Cap. Like, they do random shit, and that's coming from me. I just leave him to it.
No, I still think we should try and rescue him under the assumption that he's here. Because if he is here and we don't assume that, then we might just leave and never see him again. And that would be like a mutiny, and that would be bad.
How long are we going to search for him before we decide he's not here? Or it's just searching forever until...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is
Decides.
we should assume that he is here until we have more proof to the contrary.
You know, let's assume that he's already found the treasure. And he's just safeguarding it until we get there, right?
Huh.
I mean, it's entirely possible, as this is a temple to a god of tricks, that it's like a weird thing where the captain is the treasure.
Or maybe he is the god of tricks, and he had to assume his position as the owner of the temple to make sure that we had a good time working together. And it's like a boot camp for a crew.
What would that have to do with tricks, though?
I mean,
I'm too sober for this.
yeah, that's fair. I'm really just theorizing at this point, Ozzy. I really have no idea what's going on.
I'm going to start walking up the corridor.
Are you just walking straight past all the stone faces in 8?
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
Do I have to do it per, like, my walking speed?
No. It's just because they had said, you weren't here, but they had said they were going to do things to do with 8, but you've just gone and walked past it. I am not saying
Yeah,
you
'cause
shouldn't.
I said-
I was just
Yeah.
I had assumed that you were going to walk into 8.
No, I said I was going to look at the corridors I've already been looking at.
Of course. So you go into corridor 8 with the faces, but go through the northern door where you had been prior, whilst trying to run around finding a key that was actually in a swimming pool, and end up in this large L-shaped corridor. I mean, L-shaped from an angle that you had been in before. I believe you found the first door on the north wall when you went around the corner, led to another corridor, and you ignored that. The second door led to a room. Let me find the description so I can at least surmise it. Disrepair and decay. It was obviously accommodation, intended to house some members of the temple. The walls are cracked and worn, with heavy vines and moss creeping up the stone, making it feel as though the very room has been reclaimed by nature. And then you found that there were 3 more northern doors, at least for what you could see down the corridor, and 1 southern door, none of which you checked out.
I'm going to go up this corridor.
When we woke up today, I will have cast aid on us, so we all have 5 temp each.
Wonderful.
It just increases the max to 5 by 5.
Cheers, buddy.
No problem. After yesterday, I just feel like we could all do with being a little more safe in here.
Liffy, you find yourself in a 5, 10, 15, 20, 25-foot long corridor. The walls, as with a lot of the rest of this place, are just stone. They are not in any state of disrepair, though they are not the most perfectly well-made thing, as if though they have only just been immediately made. Just a stone corridor. But at the other end of this corridor is another door. Closed, once again, with no visible door handles or keys, keyholes, I should say, or hinges.
Can I just push on it?
You can. Are you just pushing it to open it, or pushing it to see if it would open?
Well, if I'm pushing it to see if it would open, surely it would open then.
No, what I mean is you could push it to see, like with any old door, you could see whether or not it is actually an openable door without completely opening it.
Oh yeah, I would do that first.
Sure. As you push on it, it seems as though with many other of these doors, it would be openable. There is no latch or lock or anything holding it shut. It has its hinges in its own way that you may not understand. There appears to be nothing stopping it from opening as a door should.
Okay, let's open it.
Okay. You open up the door and discover quite the room indeed.
Oh my.
A very large room Indeed. Let me read the description. It is a long, solemn chamber, stretched out before you, lined with cracked stone benches and dimly flickering, ever-burning sconces. Though time has taken its toll, this room still holds an air of quiet reverence. The walls are carved with reliefs depicting various pranks and trials, each seemingly meant to impart a lesson, or at least a laugh. In the center of the room stands a long stone table, once polished smooth but now marred by centuries of wear. On both sides of the room are large stone fireplaces, evidently in attempts to fight away the creeping cold of these large chambers, and surrounding these are more benches, possibly for communal use. There are 4 archways in this room, all at the same end that you have walked in. You can see those there. 2 on the I put left wall, but you asked for it differently. 2 on the western wall and 2 on the northern wall, all of which seem to lead to the same place, but I'll let you discover that when you get there. Those are open archways. There are no doors sitting in them. This room is 10, 15, 20, 25 foot long, technically, away from you, and it's very wide. 120 foot wide.
Who's the drawing on the map?
Me, I'm marking things so we know.
I
where to
love
go.
it.
I was like, we can draw not just to be annoying, but also to be helpful for us.
But actually using what it's meant to be. Oh my gosh. So, yes, it is a very, very large room. Nice and quiet.
I go to death.
Okay. You stand at the end of the table. It is a very finely and very nicely crafted table. It appears incredibly that this stone table is made from one piece of stone. It could be that it is many pieces of stone perfectly married together, but it is very smooth and there are no seams or lines that you can discern. There is nothing on the table, at least nothing that is notable. It appears that there are ever so slight dents as you look at it of where there may have been activity over, like lots of activity over a long time, people reading books, maybe cutlery if people have had food here, but nothing consistent. And also the fireplaces are not lit. I know they look lit on the they're not lit.
And you said these are archways.
Those are not archways, those are stone benches. The archways are on the left
These
and
ones.
so the west and top. Yeah. Those are all archways leading through, which I haven't shown you what they lead through to yet. But if you look over there, I can actually show you.
Can I just give an investigation along this side of the table? Just like everything on this side.
Of course.
Wonderful. It should be on the page that tells me my modifier. For investigation is 18.
Investigation, a very good one indeed. 2 things that would come to note for you. Firstly, every now and again, your voice seems to echo, or voices of everyone seem to echo slightly differently and oddly. There's a general resonance, as would be in a large stone room, but every now and again, it almost feels as though the echo is slightly delayed, or like reverses back to you quietly. Almost, you almost wouldn't notice it if you weren't paying, a lot of attention to the room. There is no consistency to these odd echoes. And with an 18, I'll say, as you move around, it doesn't appear that certain spaces do certain things. There is no, like I said, no consistency as to location or style. It just seems to happen every now and again. The other thing, this is more of a interest, but you can take from what you will. The reliefs along the walls that depict these pranks and trials do seem to shift ever so slightly, almost as though very slowly they are telling a story. Animated ever so slightly as you stare at them.
This is the 3rd or 4th room we've come across now that has something going on with
sound thing. Yeah.
I don't like it.
Wait, what was the second one? Because I know 7 did. I thought it was just 720.
I remember one of them doing it.
I think 9 had a sound thing. Which one was it, Alex?
Confirm or deny?
Oh, you want me to tell you these things? Oof.
The things that our characters would know, yeah.
Oof, things your characters would know. I believe that's things that you would know. I will, instead of telling you what does, I will tell you about the rooms that you have mentioned. 7,
There's definitely a something.
Hang on, I will very quickly then step back into this room and speak.
9. Let me see. Nothing odd.
And then I will go speak in 11.
In 11, your footsteps echo longer than they should.
There we go. There it is.
Only your footsteps.
And then just for good measure, 30.
30. You're not very good at counting at all. Nothing odd in this room.
So it's 7, 11, and 20. And then just while I'm here, I'll see if this is openable now. Over here.
The door in 11.
Yeah.
You push on the door, and as you try to open it, it seems stuck, as though some sort of mechanics are holding it shut.
Cool. I will go back and I'll say, it's these rooms, and also that thing seems like it might open at some point, but not right now.
Do we think the sound thing is an indication of something?
I think it might be the way in which we get to an answer in one of these rooms. There might be like, here's a puzzle, and the answer is go and like hop around on one foot in this one room because it makes this kind of sound.
Well, patterns they depend on pattern or not patterns. But
Patterns
puzzles-
depend on patterns. I can't say you're
Yes.
wrong.
Puzzles like those depend on patterns, right? But there's no consistency to the way the sound is working in this room. It doesn't.
Well, not in this one, but we haven't been in all the rooms yet.
Mm,
I ever told you you hurt my brain?
yes, multiple times.
I mean, that's why we've got a smart crew member. It's, it's what you do. It's what you're good at.
It usually happens whenever I start talking about things I'm interested in.
And no, it's actually Ozzy that's hurting my brain at the moment. You're good.
Oh, okay. All right.
I thought what I said was quite simple and easy to follow.
Sure.
And I don't actually have a brain. As far as I'm aware, I think that it rotted out of my ears like 30 years ago.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I totally agree with that statement.
It was quite strange. I remember like scratching, I scratch where I used to have an ear out of habit sometimes. And it just came away and there was like this horrible like stuff on my finger bone.
I'm gonna climb onto the table and start ritually casting detect magic.
Okay, that takes 10 minutes.
It's gonna take me 10
Oh, I'll do that
minutes,
too.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yes. In this room, there is no defined source of magic.
I assume the murals that are moving are slightly.
Yes. So there's that general over, but there's no
school.
like big highlighted, this
Yeah.
is a magical thing. If anything, it just tells you that it's just kind of like a illusory visual amenity.
I'm assuming it's similar to the thing I had that could do a similar thing of prestidigitation, can make kind of moving images, short moving images that it's just been instilled onto. But with that, taking that cursory look, I'll go up to these northern archways.
Are you stepping into that room? are you
Depending
looking
on
for?
if there is a magical field or anything in the archway,
You do not detect a magical field in the archway.
then I will walk through.
You're walking through. Wonderful.
Mhm.
It just depends on how much I reveal to you, basically. This large L-shaped room is a testament to the craftsmanship of whoever made this temple, boasting a much more extravagant aesthetic than any other room so far. Whereas in all of the rooms so far the ceiling was man-made, this appears to be the natural shape of the rocks above, except those rocks have been carved into intricate designs of gods and people, with entire scenes blending together seamlessly. The floor isn't any less impressive. Though it is cracked and faded from time, the mosaic patterns are mesmerizing, making impossible patterns that mess with the mind, and illusions meant to trick you. Around the walls of this room are many, many bookshelves, some of which are rotten and broken, but more than expected are intact and standing strong. Unfortunately, though these shelves have survived, most of the books within appear to have not, destroyed by moisture and fungi over the many years they have sat untouched. In the center of the room are many small round stone tables with chairs around, obviously meant for quiet study or conversation.
Huh. And any magical signs if I do like a walk around the perimeter?
Just using the detect magic, you would not find anything.
Can I do an investigate along the bookshelves as I'm doing that?
You certainly can.
Oh baby, that is a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Very nice.
I'm going to go and listen as these things are happening.
Wonderful.
I will have gone in through the same door that Pesto did.
You're investigating just the whole room? Certain things? Looking for particular things? The bookshelves.
Specifically investigating the bookshelves along the perimeter of the room.
Firstly, behind a bookcase in the top left, or should I say at the back of a bookcase in the top left, there is, rather oddly, a keyhole. Bronze in colour and plain in design. You think that it would usually be very well hidden, but all of the books having degraded and fallen means it is much more obvious, especially since the wood around it has discoloured, but the bronze has stayed somewhat shiny. Secondly, could you roll me 2d6, but don't add them together, just tell me the individual values, and if they are the same, re-roll one of them.
The first one is 4, the second is 2.
Okay. You find, as you're investigating through these bookshelves, 2 scrolls, which is rather strange. One, rather simply reads on it, 50-50, it all seems even, but relying on luck will leave you grieving. And then the second scroll that says, silence is needed, that's for sure. Much easier when you don't touch the floor. There's no other notation on them, just these simple rhymes.
That second one probably means about the room where we
Room 20.
echoed stuff, yeah.
If we all walk on the table, maybe.
Rather interestingly, you also find, this one is more for aesthetics, ignore the zeros that are alongside these, that's the DC to find them, it was 0. There are 5 books. I'll let you read the descriptions as you wish, but there's The Founding of Shell, The Folly of Kings, The 5 Great Theories of Magic, The Riddles of the Trickster Saints, and The Last Jest, all of which are various historical or storybooks that are intact. Very few books are intact.
Holy shit.
Yes? What was that?
Nothing.
No?
I saw the last one and realized what may be happening here.
You were saying the book called The Last Jest, a short story collection detailing legendary tricksters and the unexpected ways they met their ends, sometimes humorous, sometimes tragic. And you find within it contains information on one Ray. For people who don't know, that's from C2.
Have suddenly remembered what my legacy for Ray was and what I told Alex.
Was it something about like temples around the world? Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. Something about little fun little puzzle temples. Whoopsies.
And with your 20, that's all you found.
I got to admit, like, I wasn't fully reading what was being put in the chat, and I just saw 50-50 and thought that you'd done some D&D version of 50 Shades of Grey.
There are enough people that will have done that already.
I started reading it going, no, Alex, no.
Do you really think that's where I would go with this?
Can I read The Last Jest?
You can do. It would take a while. It's a fairly large book. Like it's like a book-sized, book, you know what I mean? Like a thick book.
I'm only interested in the information about Ray, of course.
I mean, I guess as a character, you wouldn't really have an idea. No, it's just interesting. You find that they are short stories. You know, each story is maybe 5 to 10 pages long. So not like one-page stories, like shortish stories that just talk about, like it says, just legendary tricksters. You get the feeling some of them have been embellished. Some of it might even just be complete lies. You don't know how much of it is true or false. There's a few, it seems that either the author or just generally people in this kind of an area really liked this Sihiraeth. But there's not a lot of information on who they were, just little things they got up to many, many years ago, hundreds of years ago. Some of the stories seem to be more focused on humor, some of them more on drama. They are written fairly well, some better than others. You get the idea that this might be actually multiple authors, or just one author that's better at some styles than others. But yeah, there's nothing that really gives away information on this temple. This temple itself is not mentioned. In fact, Armishan is not mentioned in any of these. There's nothing to do with it.
I think they wouldn't be.
I mean, how could you not like Ray?
This Kai High Wraith figure seems a bit weird. And who has a partner called Fauna? I've never heard of such a thing. Seems very strange.
That says Flora.
What? Kai High Wraith and Flora.
Florna.
I'm not going to pretend to know. I'm not going to pretend to know how that person's name is pronounced, but Flora is like pretty straightforward.
I'm sure you'd have no idea how to pronounce the name. It's not even a Shellian name.
Yeah. I mean, I've just not come across it before. Kai High Wraith is strange.
Oh boy.
So are we gonna hate on you after we finish this then, Ro?
Well, I can tell you I didn't design any of them directly, but
you planted the idea.
My thoughts about this temple have completely changed because of that. Now,
Yeah, but that's meta.
Yes, it is.
Well, can I borrow one of your flying doohickeys?
What do you mean flying doohickeys?
Like one of your doohickeys here. I don't know which one flies. I'm still learning their names. I know there's
Olive.
Olive
There you go,
flies.
Olive.
Can I borrow Olive?
Yep.
Thanks. I'm gonna go back down to here. I'm gonna tell
Where is
Olive
here? Where
You
is
just
here?
left.
to the door into room 11.
You just took it and left. The door to the statue room, yes, which is now crumbled rocks.
Yes. I'm gonna tell Olive. Can you please go in the other room and try and open the door that's on the far wall, but don't touch the floor and stuff.
Yeah, they flutter into the air, go over to the door, push against it, and they don't appear to open it. You obviously don't get much information back on that because they cannot communicate to you, but they push against the door whilst flying and nothing happens.
Push harder. I'll just keep doing that for a few minutes.
They push a couple more times and nothing is happening.
Oh.
So I've just spent time doing that while the other two do stuff.
Alright. You want to do any other investigations on this room? Obviously,
Well,
you have done yours.
I'm
but-
going to wander off. Go down that room.
Remind me, we got a bronze key from the pool in room 6, right? And a black
So-
key from 11?
You got
Or 30 from 30.
You got a bronze key, indeed a plain bronze key from that pool, and from room 30, you got a...
Black key.
Let me just confirm that, but I think you are correct. Where is it? Yes, a plain black metal key.
Cool. I'm going to take the bronze key and put it into the lock behind these books on the marked bookcase.
Excellent. It fits in to the keyhole. It is obviously sized correctly. Are you going to turn it?
I'm going to pause a second.
Are you pausing because you'd pause, or because I asked if you're going to turn it?
No, I'm pausing because Pesto would pause, given every fucking thing that's happened anytime they've done the thing that seems direct and obvious.
And it doesn't help that I think we've all wandered off from you.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm just... Yeah, 3 seems about right. I'm going to turn the key.
Wonderful. You turn the key, and it goes as though something was unlocked.
I will try to push the bookcase, and if that doesn't give at all, I'll try to pull the bookcase. And if that doesn't work, I'll try to slide the bookcase.
And if that
All right,
doesn't
Miss
work...
Bookcase, come here often. You look lovely tonight.
Hello.
You push on the bookcase, and it opens like a door. It reveals a corridor. 30 foot long, and as with many other corridors, simple and stone.
Olive flutters directly back to me, signaling to you to follow.
Oh no! Fuck! Ah! Bollocks. I'll try one last thing, which is to climb onto the brazier and then just sit there for a minute while it's quiet and see if the door opens.
You do so. Nothing appears to happen. You have ash on your butt.
It's fine. Oh,
Your
make my way
perfectly
back.
shiny armor is no longer. A couple seconds later, fluttering over to you, is Olive.
Hey, buddy. I'm assuming Ozzy's following you, so I'm just going to go in and assume someone's got my back. I'll open the door at the far end of the corridor if it will give.
You push on the door. It does. open. It actually, you push it, and like with those modern day cupboards, it like clicks and then opens towards you.
Oh, fancy!
Nice.
The room, which I shall reveal in a second, appears simple. A small stone chamber with a floor made up of large square tiles, each carved with intricate swirling patterns. Opposite the entrance, which is your eastern side, stands a door framed by an archway of curling stone, and on the southern wall there is a second doorway, identical to the first.
Bit of an obscure sport for stone to play, but I guess curling. Makes as much sense as anything else.
There are no visible locks, no keyholes, just the floor between you and the archways.
INMHB.
So just for the podcast, then they've turned their head because it's the orientation that it would be for them, and it's sideways for everyone.
Sort of
It's
why.
because it appears as a script that would be facing
Sort of
the
X.
entrance door here.
H, a different sort of Y.
Are those symbols in a like recognizable language? Did you say that?
Who are you asking?
You.
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just said that the each carved with intricate swirling patterns. I didn't even say that they were letters or a language.
Yeah.
Oh well. Apologies. This is why you didn't reveal it immediately, but as soon as you did, I stopped listening. Detect magic. See anything?
You see that every single one of these tiles on the floor is magical. With you'd
Usually
think
abjuration for trap-y or
I'm assuming it's
puzzly
abjuration, but I
stuff.
just want to confirm because
Yeah, if it's protecting, it's abjuration. If it's exploding, it's evocation. If it's something to do with necromancy, it's
a problem.
necromancy.
necromancy. If it's healing, it's also necromancy.
Yeah, no.
No, that changed. Healing stuff is now abjurative, I think.
I hate that. I liked that.
Well,
was
healing stuff
necromancy.
before
It's abjuration,
mostly wasn't necromantic. It was evocation because it was like explosion of magic. It's just healing magic.
I think it should all be necromantic.
Yeah.
Yes, abjurative. Abjuration.
Yes, abjuration.
I'll step 5 feet into the room.
Oh, Bonza, what's this?
Yeah, you appear.
Oh, hey, I found a lock back here that I opened with the bronze key from the room where we almost drowned. Well, I almost drowned. You were never in danger of that. But this is what it led to.
You stand on the first tile. I am going to referentially number them 1 to 9, starting with 1 in the top corner and going across 2, 3, then down a row 4, 5, 6.
Okay,
and
from
down,
our perspective,
7, 8, 9.
not entering the room perspective.
Yes, just from the map's perspective. That is, I want to clarify, nothing to do with like you necessarily solving it. It's just so that we're able to say which one you stand on.
So Rose on number 6 then.
Rose on number 6, yes.
Cool.
When you stand on it, the slab below you flashes, it glows for a second, and you disappear.
Nope.
Ozzy, from your perspective, you walk over as they're saying, I found this room, and they teleport directly back to the start. Just bonk, straight back into the archway. Pesto.
Yes.
It's been an hour. You have been falling.
Oh, fuck.
Nothingness. No feelings other than wind implying that you're falling downwards. No sound, no smell, no nothing. It's been an hour. You would have disappeared into this, and at the end of the hour, just been like, "What is this? Is my eternity?" And then suddenly, plunk, you just reappear. And Ozzy, like I said, this was instant.
Oh, you just make yourself grow a little bit. That's very impressive. Good bit of magic. I can't do that.
Where am I? Ozzy? Oh my god, it's been so long.
I mean, you were just talking to me,
What?
like just now.
Oh my god. This room, it's a time vortex.
I don't know what that means, mate.
Excuse me. I need to go sit down.
You go sit down on one of the stone tables.
Oh. Oh my god.
So should I go and step on something?
No.
Niffy's gone to the room next 13, which I'm guessing is going to be 14.
Yeah, let Nippy do something for a sec.
Niffy! You go to this room down this corridor, one of these northern rooms that is next to the room you found prior that was obviously a living space. Do you open the door?
Yep.
The door seems difficult to open, but as you give it a push, you realize it is the carpet of moss on the floor in the room next that you were trying to enter. Bonk. And it looks identical to 13. It is indeed 14. It is not identical, perfectly identical. Oh my god, that's amazing. It's more just the same room setup.
No, it looks perfectly identical to me.
I mean, on the image, yeah, certainly copied and pasted. but yes, no, it's
Cool, I'll move on to the next one. Open.
Okay, we move on to room. Can you guess it?
18.
15.
Oh, I got it wrong.
And it's another of the same.
Cool, move on to this one down here.
The one on the bottom.
Yes.
Right, the southern room. You open up the door, and it doesn't look the same
Told you, 18.
as the others. You were a little late on that one. This long, ruined chamber was probably, you would assume, the residence of the temple's most senior priest. The space is overgrown with fungi, their pale, bulbous forms creeping up the stone walls and clustering in the damp corners. The air is thick with the pungent scent of decay and spores, and the floor is soft beneath foot, covered in layers of rotting plant matter and creeping moss. At the far end of the room, a large, ornate bed sits against the wall, its wood warped and cracked from time. The tattered remains of deep red sheets are barely visible beneath a twisted, fungal growth which has latched onto the figure still lying in the bed. The mummified corpse remains partially intact, wrapped in robes stiffened by time and overtaken by the fungal infestation. The skull is tilted slightly, the hollow sockets staring lifelessly towards the entrance as long, spindly fungal tendrils have pierced the body, growing through the fabric and out of the brittle skin, suggesting that whatever took root here has been feeding on the remains. To the north of the room, a splintered desk is nearly unrecognizable beneath a thick carpet of spores. A faintly glowing fungus has grown over where ink pots and scrolls once sat, consuming the knowledge that might have been recorded here. Against the southern wall, a tall wardrobe has toppled forwards, its now open back revealing the remains of ceremonial robes, now little more than damp, mold-eaten cloth. The stone walls are cracked, and in some areas, shallow carvings of Al-Mishan's sigils can still be seen, though they are partially hidden beneath the fungal infestation, and the ceiling is covered in clusters of hanging mushrooms that dangle ominously, their spores drifting lazily through the stale air.
They're the dead person. I remember that bit.
Well, there is a body.
A dead person.
If there's anything I know, or that I'm assuming, it's Ray and Flora probably set all this up, and now I'm just laughing internally.
Well, is it a trick at the meta level?
It could be.
I'm going to wander off to this room and open it and find room 16. Which means, where the fuck is room 17?
So you're leaving that and going down the corridor slightly further. Now you remember, of course, this corridor is very dark. As you walk down the corridor further, you can see the end of the corridor, which is one more door on the northern wall and a door at the end of the corridor on the eastern wall. This door you open up, and unsurprisingly, 16 is another of exactly the same as 13, 14, and 15. These small, I was going to say 3 by 3, 15 by 15 living spaces.
This room, please.
You move along to the last door on the northern side of this corridor, and unsurprisingly, room 17 is the same as 16, 15, 14, and 13, these 15 by 15 living spaces, covered in mold and fungi and all that.
Oh, and then do that.
The
bit.
door at the end. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. The door at the end. You open up. And I'm actually only going to give you part of this.
That's fine. I only remember part of what you say anyway.
Which will be like, let's go with... I'm doing this because it is dark in this room, and therefore you only see the first little portion there. But I shall describe it nonetheless. This room stretches out into a long, cavernous space, the walls of which are covered in faded murals depicting the mischievous exploits of Aramishan. The air is thick with dust, and the scent of old stone and decay lingers, suggesting that nobody has been here in hundreds of years. Rows of simple stone bed frames, once adorned with plush bedding, now lie bare, their linens long rotted away. Some still have scraps of fabric clinging to them, remnants of a life long past, and between the beds the occasional footlocker or storage chest somewhat remains, their locks rusted and their wood warped and rotted from time. The ceiling is high, supported by thick stone pillars, which is those circles that you can see, some of which have cracked over the centuries, allowing for portions of the ceiling to have collapsed down. You obviously cannot see further than I have shown you there because it is dark, but obviously you can see the rows of beds. You would have to go in further to see more.
Yeah.
Ozzy.
Yeah, so I thought that the room down there was the one that it was saying about, like, you know, don't step on the floor, because it was the one that echoed the footsteps. So I was, like, stood in the corridor, and Olive couldn't open the door, so I think I might have been wrong.
It never said, it didn't say footsteps, it said no sound at all, and sorry, I'm really disoriented. For your reference, when I teleported, I was falling for, a long time.
Oh, like...
I didn't even think to pull out my pocket watch.
Like a week? Like 2 months?
Maybe, probably. I really don't know.
You look great for not having eaten for 2 months, though.
I couldn't feel it, like my senses were all fucked up too. Oh fuck. I
mean, to me, it just looked like you stopped talking, you grew a little bit larger, and then you started screaming.
If I grew a little larger, then it must have been like a while.
Why are you saying that they grew larger?
Because he doesn't have eyes, so I'm saying that his depth perception is kind of a bit askew, so because he went from there to there. Just because he's got a little bit larger.
I was like, have you misunderstood how long we were going for?
Jesus. So funny. If I grew larger, then I must have been in there for years. Oh shit.
Yeah, but like you didn't. Were you expecting to grow much more, or is that a surprise?
To be honest,
because you don't generally look bigger. It was just like in the.
To be honest, I haven't really like studied my own species, and I haven't really like run into many of my own species in the time that I've been alive.
Do you know what? That's fair, and you were raised by a rock, and they generally don't get larger. So I suppose you'd not have anything to compare it to.
I regret telling you things about my mother if you're just going to reduce her down to a rock.
She is. That was how you described her.
She is.
She's
her consciousn's currently
and
resides.
Not in like the emotional kind.
Her consciousness currently resides in a large gemstone. Yes, but that doesn't mean that she is that gemstone.
Oh, you didn't say it was a gemstone before. I thought it was just like a granite boulder or something that had fallen out of a cave.
I mean, there's some like
there
is some like sedentary stone in there, but she's primarily a gemstone.
Oh, well, that is more interesting. I am more interested to meet her now.
Again, that's not like her substance. That's a vessel for her consciousness. She wasn't always this rock gemstone.
I mean, I can relate to that. I was going to say I wasn't always a skeleton. I suppose I was always a skeleton. It's just that I had more on the outside of it than I do now.
It is different than that. She moved her consciousness from her flesh and bone body into this gemstone.
But the point still stands that, being a rock, they're not typically things that grow. So you'd have no...
Yes, there's no biology to study there. Yes, that's yeah.
Right. So do you want me to step on any of these?
I don't know. I'm kind of assuming that room is the one that's referred to by the 50/50 scroll that we read, saying that you don't want to rely on luck. But I'm not sure what else to do.
Well, that doesn't make sense. There's 9 spaces, and that doesn't divide into odds and evens, really.
Well, I think it's more of a 50/50 chance of whether or not the individual platform will send you into, further into the puzzle or into this void that you have no senses to experience.
Have you tried the doors yet? Is that something you're able to do at a distance? I can't remember.
Because
I had Olive.
Yeah, I could send Olive, but I don't have the ability to fly on my own.
I could throw you quite hard.
That's okay. I don't really want to be thrown. Olive, can you go try the doors in that room?
Olive flies over.
Oh, hey, Niffy.
Hey.
We're throwing Olive at doors.
Why?
Nothing happens. They don't appear to move the doors as they are pushed on.
I'd see if the doors would open, but to be honest, Olive's not very good at opening doors, it seems.
I wouldn't have said the weight of Olive would open the door. Especially not from
Olive's a lot stronger than they look.
But you're throwing Olive, you're not using their strength, you're just throwing them.
Emotionally or physically?
Oh, actually, physically, they're a lot weaker than they look. Never mind, I lied.
Oh.
Still, we're not using their strength because we're throwing them, so we're technically using our strength.
Well, I mean, throwing them was just to get them into the air. They can fly on their own. It's just to get them a jump start.
You find anything interesting?
I found a room with what looks like was a person. They're pretty dead now.
My kind of dead or other kinds of dead?
You're kind of dead, but dead.
That's a very confusing answer to receive.
I believe she's saying that they're a skeleton, but they're not animated.
Yes.
Oh. I understand.
You didn't.
I understand now.
Good.
So, Niffy, don't just walk into 22. They will send you into a void where you cannot feel, hear, taste, or hear anything for an undisclosed amount of time.
But it might make you slightly larger.
It is kind of traumatizing.
That sounds really cool, though. Really want to try it.
If you really want to try it, I guess there's technically no harm aside from the mental. And if you're willing to sacrifice mental, then I try one of the ones to the left or right of the door, at the very least, so we can make some progress.
Spinach, how long have you known me?
I suppose it's been about a month or so.
And in that month or so, have you ever thought that I care about sacrificing my mental well-being?
Yes.
Well, as we've recently learned, you've been heavily intoxicated for most of that time, so I'm not really sure I can trust what I've learned about you in that time, as it's been altered by...
Exactly. How has been... I'm trying to think. I want to say medically, but not medically. Basically, how is me being high not sacrificing my mental well-being, huh?
Well, we haven't really had a chance to, really break down the reasons that you do that.
Yeah. If you want to sit down now and confront that, then we can.
How do I not? So I'm going to go step onto this
I had
one
a thought.
here.
Oh, she's gone.
So you step like an angle to try and get around the corner into.
Yeah, I'm going to jump onto number 3.
Wonderful. Could you give me a either athletics or acrobatics, your choice?
16.
16. Fine. You step onto that corner sigil, and nothing happens.
I'll just turn around and stare at them.
Oh, that's incredible! We know one of the spaces we need to go to. Cool.
Do I go forwards or do I go diagonally?
Well, we only have the first one in the room and the one you stepped on, so up to you. What are your vibes telling you?
I'll go diagonally.
Okay.
Okay. As you step onto this one, for the two of you that are not Niffy, she just appears back at the entrance.
Oh, you did the magic!
Niffy, you've been falling for a very long time. About an hour. There's been air to let you know that you are falling, but there has been no sounds, no smells, no feelings of any kind, no light of any kind as you've been falling, until you just appear back at the entrance.
That was amazing.
What the fuck?
I instantly go back in and then step forwards from that one to this one.
Hang on. You step on this corner one again?
Yep.
Okay. The same happens where you teleport back, but again for you, it's been an hour.
Okay. This is definitely the 50-50 room.
Okay, that's confusing, but still amazing.
It's definitely the 50-50 room. Got it. But there is only chance. So we have to fly or get fucked, I guess.
Nope, I'm trying again. I'll step forwards.
You step forwards.
We-
Nothing happens.
Cool. I'll step forwards again.
Nothing happens.
Do you think it would be useful to have Pumpkin be a fully grown dragon?
I think it would probably make things a little more inconvenient for us.
We could just continually chuck them onto these panels and they just age.
I step forwards again.
Nothing happens. And as you get to the door that is on the western side opposite the entrance, a silver lock fades into a keyhole, fades into existence on the door.
Guys, do we have a silver key?
Nope, the only one we have left is a black key.
Bollocks.
Wait, you got to the door?
Yeah, I'm gonna jump
What
onto
the
this one.
fuck?
Nothing happens.
What the fuck?
Is there a keyhole appear on this door as well?
Nope.
Can I push this door?
You can certainly push the stone.
Oh, is it not a door?
It's a door, it's an archway, but as with many of all of the other doors that you've come up against, none of them are obviously a door, it's just a doorway archway with stone in it. And doors open sometimes when you push them.
Alright, I'll head back this way then. Back to the
Wonderful.
doorway.
Yep, you do so.
So we need a silver key.
Well, you somehow solved that room, and I have no idea how, but thanks, Sniffy.
You're welcome.
Sniffy?
I said Sniffy. I'm gonna go back into this room and stand on the table and be very, very quiet as I walk up and down.
You do so, give me a stealth.
Oh, okay. All right. Mechanics. Hello. I'm so stealthy with a 13.
You're 13. You're being as quiet as you can, pads on your feet walking up and down. And then suddenly your footsteps start going thump, 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 thump. Oh no, that's just Pumpkin following you behind you.
Get out. I'm trying to do a thing. I'm trying to solve a puzzle. If you can't be quiet, then it won't work.
They just block and just Lem comes out.
Lem! Come on, Lem. Get back in the bag of holding. You'll be safer in there.
Slightly damp. And now they're like looking at you as though like when a dog wants you to play fetch.
No, I'm putting them in the bag of holding.
When you move, they're like moving with you.
And then they go in the bag and they get very sad.
You now need to make Pumpkin some toys. Just saying.
Well, Pumpkin gets really sad and then just like immediately object permanence disappears and they get distracted and start like chasing their own tail or something.
Oh yeah, but you need to make them some toys. That is your new mission.
They like start chasing their tail on the stone table, get too close to the edge, lose their footing. And then just like sit there with their legs in the air.
Nippy, come get your dog.
I fucking love Pumpkin. They are my favourite character of this campaign.
I love you put like tons of effort into your PCs and just the dumb fucking dog. Of course, that's the favorite.
That is actually a dragon.
That's a dog.
It's a dog in a dragon's body.
Yeah. Niffy shakes the treats at the doorway.
You don't even know how they moved so quickly. They're just next to you.
Cool. I'll get them to sit, and then give them the treat, and then tell them to wait.
They do so.
Can I try again?
Yeah, sure. Roll a stealth.
That's better. 16 plus 8. No, plus 2. 18.
19. You walk really quietly down the table.
I don't think this is the room.
You get to the other end, and you're like, oh.
Whilst you're walking away from Niffy, Niffy will throw a treat onto the table.
You get to the other end, and then you're just like the entire table vibrates and just knocks you over off your feet as Pumpkin lands at the other end.
This place is confusing!
I want to go home.
I want treasure!
Maybe the treasure is the real home we found along the way.
Shut up, Ozzy. I want money.
I didn't find no fucking home along the way.
I want to upgrade our ship so it's cool as hell.
Well, I think you've done a pretty good job. It's pretty
I
cool.
know, but I need more
That's
money
really
to
cool.
make it do...
You've kept the temperature very, very nicely, I have to assume.
I'm gonna be so honest, I didn't put like any effort in temperature control. But
Well, in that case, I'll assume you've done a good job without even thinking about it.
I assume that's just like the sea. We have been like in pretty temperate locations. Wait, can you feel temperature?
Yeah.
I mean, extremes. Like you feel your temperature how? Through skin?
Yeah,
and
there's
whiskers and stuff?
sensory receptors in my whiskers and skin.
I don't really tend to notice it unless there's something to notice.
Yeah, have you never felt like the cold down to your bones? That's probably what Ozzy feels.
There's an element of kind of when you first start shedding all of your flesh, of a sensation of being cold to your bones all the time, because you are just bones, but you just kind of get used to it, and so everything else, that becomes the new normal. So that's kind of what I feel all the time, I suppose. A very chilling coldness. But that's just kind of normal, so I don't even really notice. It's been that way for a good few years.
Is shedding your skin like when a wolf sheds their fur?
Do wolves shed their fur? I wasn't aware that was something that happened.
Yeah, once every 6 months, the undercoat comes out.
Oh. Well, I would imagine that it kind of falls out.
I like how
In
you went with
clumps?
a wolf and fur, which is like a slow shedding of a winter coat, rather than, I don't know, some other animal that sheds its entire skin, maybe like lizards or snakes.
Oh, I never thought of that.
It kind of varies, to be honest, because blood and stuff isn't
Or was it
really...
more like when a snake sheds their skin?
It sort of varies, and people, on the ship handled it their own way. Because the flesh is kind of rotting off you while you're still walking around, some people
Oh, God,
don't
no.
like that. And, it can be a bit, depending on how fast it happens, it can be a bit uncomfortable to watch your flesh drop off you.
No, don't like that.
Some people did do some things where they would do some sort of severance procedure on their arm, and then they'd kind of take it off like it was one long glove, and then they'd just be left with all their bones and stuff.
See, it just sounded so much more fun when you blew your skin off like a wolf blowing their like winter fur.
That's it. You're walking into room 18?
Yeah.
Also very interesting. I don't know. You always make so many assumptions, honestly.
Oh, I wonder which room Pesto went into. I didn't see him go, did you?
No, I was too busy talking to you about your skin.
Well, let's just wait here until we hear a scream then.
Pesto,
Mm-hmm.
as you start to walk in, the fungi in this room, and I'm not just talking about you, the fungi in this room all seem to be connected, a detail that is only noticeable as you start moving through this room. With each step you take, the room almost seems to pulse and breathe as though it objects to your presence.
If I notice that, I'll stop.
Yeah? And as you stop moving, or should I say, the slower you move, the less it reacts.
I'll back up if I realize this.
Sure. There's no noticeable ill effect as you step out of the room.
Wonderful.
Oh, it was the Ep one.
You went into that room.
It's stinky.
Yeah.
I got kind of uncomfortable by you guys talking about like shedding skin so much, because then I started thinking about like when my coat grows out, and that's
I don't know if shedding is the right word. Sometimes it just kind of sloughs off.
well,
Say
Yeah.
slough. Slough is more of an accurate one.
yeah.
I got so uncomfortable talking about rotting skin. I went to go see the dead body.
Well, I figured solving a puzzle
Sloughing and dropping.
that's a lot worse. Especially after shedding. Like shedding is like a connection word that I can relate to, so that, and then describing it as like sloughing, that's bad. That's worse. So yeah, that fungus is very much alive. It is it doesn't want us going in there.
Yeah.
Right, should we set fire to it then?
You're welcome to do some rolls, of course.
I would like to do a nature roll
You're welcome to.
figure out what the
But
fuck.
you're all welcome to.
Oh, we're all welcome to.
17.
If you wish to. I'm not going to stop you.
Is it nature that you would like us to roll?
Rowan has, or should I say Pesto has rolled nature. I am not forcing you to do so. I am just saying, don't feel as though because it's a tight corridor and blah, 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 you can't see in the room. I'm just assuming, you can all move around and look in as needed.
Then may I roll survival for whatever that might tell us?
Sure.
22.
22.
I'm going to roll survival.
Okay.
Me and Pesto both still have detect magic up as well.
Okay.
Actually, Pesto might not because you fell for an hour of your time, so I would still have
Yeah,
it,
I
guess.
definitely don't then.
Yeah.
I beat you by getting 23.
Ah.
That's so fucking weird. Time is relative. Fucking crazy.
You're related to a rock and the concept of time.
Does this mean that Ray figured out how to manipulate time in like controlled areas? I guess for a 20th level warlock.
Who's Ray?
I'm using my normal voice this
A
time.
what-if
So you can...
A what-if level what?
Probably. She was quite a manipulative person.
Wow.
Well, if she learns...
She specifically was not.
I know, it's
I specifically had her not use any enchantment magic because she fucking hated that so much.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to see your reaction.
I'm offended.
How many levels of Bard did she take in the end?
3.
So she would have had her 9th level Arcanum. Time Stop might be on the on the spell list. I don't know if it is, but it's feasible.
It wouldn't be for an hour though. That's crazy.
No, but play with it over time.
Who knew
as
what
you
Melon...
gain NPC magic.
Who knew what Melon?
Yeah, I was going to
could
say,
do?
I was literally about to say you're forgetting that your PC has moved into NPC territory,
Yeah.
so therefore... Your nature 17, mixed with the survivals. I would say, as a group, I will give you the information that is here, because that's fine. You all work out together that this fungi colony has evidently gained some low level of intelligence. I mean, low level, not its thinking for itself, more just it has that ever so slight semblance of sentience. You get the feeling that it would be wise to be careful, as too much disturbance may cause it to react in a defensive and therefore aggressive manner.
May I try to stealth in?
You may.
Oh, good luck, mate.
Thank you. Shh. 18.
18. Where are you going?
I'd like to go to the desk.
Okay, you wander over to the desk. As you start to wander over, the floor glows, and for everyone else, you teleport back to the... No, I'm kidding.
Just trying to traumatize this little raccoon.
As you step through into the room over to the desk, you can tell that some of your steps are making the room react a little more than others, but you have managed to... You've worked out a good speed to move, where to step, and it does not appear... Well, it doesn't attack you, so you take that as a positive. And you walk over to the desk.
Now, the thing that stood out to me in the description was that there is a faintly glowing fungus that has grown over where inkpots and scrolls once sat, consuming the knowledge that might have once been recorded here. I'd like to investigate that specific fungus to try to figure out what has been consumed.
Okay. That seems more like a nature.
Sure. Not as great as my investigation, but it's fine. That's a natural 20 for a 24.
Wonderful. You do not recognize this glowing fungus in itself. It has similarities to things you've come across in shops and such. Fairly expensive, but this sort of glowing aspect to it seems to be almost a mutation in its own right, a sentience as with the rest of the room. You're not sure what that effectively means in terms of you're reading the absorbed the knowledge is a very meta type thing, but you don't really know what that means in terms of it sitting here glowing on a desk. But it does make it somewhat special. With this nature, you get the feeling if you did take cuttings of this, it would probably be worth a lot. But that, of course, comes with the risk of disturbing the room.
The real treasure was the fungus we found along the way.
We're here for treasure, and knowledge is valuable, so I'm going to try to take some cuttings of this very carefully, and hopefully with the aid of that
Okay.
that natural 20 nature.
Wonderful.
And you know what? I'll even try to have Olive assist me if you will allow it.
In terms of assist, you grab a mushroom and use your knife. Like, what do you expect from assists?
Yeah. Like some balancing, like some careful, I don't know, making sure that things don't spill or disturb other areas. Like
I don't even think you know what you're saying.
I don't know what's going to come from this mushroom. I don't know if there's going to be like an ooze that seeps out. I don't know if...
I just love relating this to like cutting someone's arm off and being like, if I'm really careful, they won't be annoyed and might not notice.
I'm not thinking about it as an arm, but sure, yeah.
No, I know. I just love that as a. Okay, give me another nature.
I'm going to say jolly. I don't remember what stats that boosts or diminishes, though, for the specific Pokemon. Timid, that's another nature.
Oh, you're trying to be funny. Sorry, is this where I meant to laugh?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, not now. It was just after I said it. That would have been the best time to laugh.
16.
16. Could you roll 2d10, please?
3 and 2.
5.
Yes.
That's just quite a low roll for 2d10. You managed.
You meant D10s, not D100?
No, I meant d10s.
Okay, cool.
You managed to deftly cut 5 of these mushrooms before something happens. So you can put 5 glowy mushrooms into your, or glowing fungus into your inventory. As you start to disturb the 6th, you hear as a spores bursts out from the figure in the bed as it starts to rise, staring vaguely in your direction.
Guys!
Could you please roll initiative? The descriptions of what has arisen. You can see that, as I said before, it is wearing these ceremonial robes as it gets up. But think very much like The Last of Us, with the mushrooms all ingrained and growing out of
got a clicker?
a creature. Less clicker, which is...
But legally distinct.
It's less like a clicker where it's like those layers of mushroom, and more like tendrils. Imagine long, the long spindly mushrooms, a lot of those coming out, almost like tentacles from itself.
Yeah. That's sick.
It looks over towards you, evidently a reaction to what has happened as the entire room starts to pulse as it was before, but now more aggressively.
Sorry!
These spores being let out into the air. From you outside, you wouldn't hear much apart from this, like, and then out from the door, this just, like, slight puff of spores. It doesn't fill up the corridor or anything, but evidently something is happening inside as you hear.
I think I fucked up, but I got treasure!
I will give you one other thing as the room pulses. Behind the bed, to the right of the bed, so on the eastern wall, to the right of the bed, as the fungus moves and pulses, you see it starts to reveal a compartment. It was previously hidden, but is evidently some kind of built-in cupboard door, no larger than maybe the size of an A4 piece of paper, but obviously defined enough to be a little door. It is not being like specifically protected, it is just hidden, but it seems as though it's the only different part of anything in this room that isn't like a desk or the cupboard or a bed. Like, it's built into the room. Presumably something more treasure-like. Unfortunately, there's that thing in the way. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Magic Myths and Mayhem. Thank you to Dark Fantasy Studio and Nicolas Judy and Ovani for the use of their music in this episode. And a big thanks to you for listening. If you want to hear more behind-the-scenes content, alongside extra art and lore, please consider joining our Patreon by searching Magic Myths and Mayhem on patreon.com, or watch our extra content and games on twitch.com. For now, thank you for being here, and we look forward to seeing you next time. I'll see you then.
Alex, did I do the thing that you sent me a TikTok of where I focused on something that didn't matter in the description?
You see, arguably, everything matters, if you want it to.
Did I do it, though?
It's not really anything I can answer, because it's not really how I run these things.
Mm.
If I'm going to give you descriptions of an entire room with there's glowy fungus...
Did it matter initially?
Again, it depends what you mean by matter, because you were aiming for things that are worth things, and it is something that is worth something, so does it matter? Yes.
Was it initially worth something? Like, noted as something that's worth something?
I don't know really what you want from me. Do you want me to tell you that you've done shit? Like, I don't know what you want.
I want you to tell me that I'm bad.
That is a different kind of DM, and
You
not
done
what we're
fucked
doing
up.
today.